Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you here on this Thursday, and a very special Thursday as we welcome in Coach Tom Allen, the Indiana head football coach. Coach, how have you been?
Man, I'm doing great, buddy. Good to be with you again.
Great to have you. Great to see you. And unfortunately, we didn't get the memo. We could have really seen you face to face. We thought we've been living in this land of Zoom, and we could have actually done this in person. Unfortunately, we didn't do that. Keegan Nickoson from the Hoosier.com with us as well. How has spring gone, man? Most importantly, you've gotten through the spring with a new DC, a new OC, new everything, it seems like.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, you're right. A lot of change, when you think about bringing in 20 new players in January, which is a record number of guys at the mid-year point, 10 from high school, 10 from college, and being able to have that much turnover in your roster is significant, So you got kind of a whole new look of guys. And then you mentioned the new coordinators, some other new coaches. So, yeah, a lot of change. But I tell you what, sometimes change can be really good. I love the energy. I love the focus of our guys. We got a really strong core of guys coming back from last year that I'm excited about, and they've responded really, really well to the challenges that we put forth for them for this whole, spring season and then now into the summertime. So very, very critical next 2.5 months for us, for guys to continue to elevate the preparation and get ready for fall camp. So, but no, I thought spring went really, really well. Got a lot accomplished, made some adjustments, and just keep working hard every day to get better.
Well, I got this on here for you. I don't know if you
I
noticed
see it. I love it. It's looking good.
It's actually one of my favorite shirts as well. And speaking of all this newness, how is it as you're deep into being a head coach, so you're past that, but now having all this change and having to manage all that change, implement that change, you're part of the change because you're going back to calling defense, and then to get that all together, that seems like that's harder than any season of work that you've had to do so far.
It's challenging. There's no doubt. I mean, it's part of what I felt like we needed to do. Because obviously, it's really kind of a perfect storm for a lot of change, because we knew even no matter what would happen this past year, that because of COVID and the numbers and the large number of juniors and seniors we had going into COVID that all got an extra year, that we were going to have massive turnover after the 2021 season, regardless. Because if you keep all your guys that had eligibility, you'd have no freshman class, and so that was the reality of, having a year in 2021 when you could have your bonus players or your super seniors still on your team. And then in 2022, you can no longer have those guys, even though they all have an extra year. So something had to give. If they would have given us more scholarships, then yeah, you could have kept more continuity on your team. But you had to make a tough decision. We had to make some tough decisions about those things. So a lot of those guys all graduated, and so had a chance to be able to, if they wanted to play that 5th or 6th year for some of them, they had to go do it somewhere else. So, but because of that, there is a chance for us to bring in some fresh guys, new guys with that still fit with us. That's one thing I've never wavered from. That's going to be is it more challenging to do that in a shorter window of time? Yes. But it's no different with our coaches, still finding guys. And I think we've really, we were talking about it even today as a staff, and some talking about the guys we brought in and how excited we are about them and how well they fit with us and how well everybody that's around this program is excited about a lot of these new guys. So, but yeah, a lot of change, a lot of new faces. We're going through and redoing the depth chart in our team meeting room, and it's amazing how many new guys are on there, from a year ago. So yeah, it's but like you said, but I've done this a long time. I've coached for 30 years and a lot of experience with going through and just got to build a team every year, no matter how it looks. You got to bring those guys together and over the course of the time you have. And right now, these next 2.5 months will be critical, and fall camp will be huge to be able to build a football team that's going to be able to play at a high level on Saturdays in September.
Keegan?
Yeah, Coach, you had some comments about the transfer portal near the end of last season and just saying how it kind of put coaches in a tough spot. What's it kind of been like adjusting to that? And what's these new rules and regulations? What have you seen change?
Well, the thing that I, commented about was, I was not real fired up about guys being able to go in the portal during the season. It just didn't make any sense to me. and so I do. It does look like they're going to make changes in that, for that not to be able to happen, which I think is critical. And I also, man, I'm just being real with you about what I feel our role is as a coach. We're trying to teach grit in their life. We're trying to teach, the ability to persevere through difficult that is life. I mean, that's going to happen to them, and when they got a family that's counting on them, you just can't just quit your job. I mean, you better have a plan B. You better have it. And so I just don't like to have a system that was in place that kind of encouraged that somewhat. And so, I get it. I'm not sure you're criticizing the transfer portal. I mean, there's reasons for guys if they want to make those changes after the year, sit down with a coach, man to man, face to face, and talk it through. If that's what's best for them, I'm never gonna, be mad at a guy. I may be disappointed, and it may hurt, for certain guys. But at the same time, you need to learn to have those tough conversations. So we have to learn as a profession to be able to deal with those changes, and you still have to, manage your roster. But I do think that they're trying to get some rules in place to help us with that, to make it not so open-ended, have windows of time when guys can go in, and that gives you a chance to kind of know what you're dealing with as a coach, because you still only have 85 scholarships. And under the current rules, you can only bring in 25 a year of initials, and that's being evaluated as well. And if that's been a tough denominator here to be able to deal with, because sometimes you may lose more than 25 guys and you can't replace them, So we're trying to, get the rules to be adapted to the transfer rules and make sure that all aligns and gives the coaches the best chance to rebuild the roster if guys choose to go somewhere else.
NIL is also, everything seems it all hit at once. NIL has been great for some people, not great for some. Indiana, being truthful, it has been known as a basketball school. It's not a secret. And that makes life difficult for the football coach, for the football program. And on the NIL side, is that being at a basketball school, how much is that hurting from the NIL standpoint, as opposed to competing against these programs that are more known as football schools, and the NIL is more geared towards that?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, what we got to do, and these are the conversations that I'm having with our administration, as a fact that, whether you're, predominantly in the history has been basketball or football, whatever that happens to be, moving forward, you got to find, individuals, boosters that are willing to support and invest in football, and that goes for any program in America, to be able to compete against other teams that are doing that very thing right now. And so that's, without question, that's our challenge moving forward, and to be able to have that. And we got some things that are beginning to be put in place, which is very positive for that, to help us, which is great. And we just got to keep building off of those, and be able to allow as many of our guys as possible to benefit from the new rules of NIL. And those rules can be great for young men, but I also want to make sure we do a good job of protecting our team in regards to, it is a team sport. This is still, it's not a sport where you advance as an individual, in the tournament. You are a football team, and you play as a team, and you win as a team, you lose as a team. And so we got 125 guys on our team. That's a lot of guys, so to be able to manage that locker room, be able to help as many people as possible without making it, but you know what, here's the thing. If you think about that concept, I feel like that we've kind of just fast forwarded a lot of things that our players would experience in the NFL. Okay. If you look at the NFL, there's only about 15% of players who actually have endorsement contracts, or for a shoe or this or that or whatever. Not near as many as you think. Okay. Are the salaries all different? Yeah, they absolutely are. So we're kind of have to probably learn to kind of think that way. Not everybody's going to get maybe the same amount of money. Is that going to disrupt the locker room? Well, you know what? Does it disrupt an NFL locker room? All I know is this: if a guy does get more, he better prove it on the field, because that's kind of how it works at that level too. So I think we're now putting ourselves in position for those kind of dynamics, and we just got to recognize if that's the direction we're going to go, which it looks like we are, we got to be able to learn to handle those.
That's the one thing I have not understood is people saying, well, there's going to be discord and this, that. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I go, this is no different than life, man. I go, there's not a job you go to that someone does not make more money than you, or you make more money than. They have more perks, whatever the case is. This is absolutely welcome to life, real life. So I don't see, I agree with you, don't see the difference. Keegan?
What kind of conversations have you had with your guys and kind of adjusting to this? And how much have you had to learn? Because like you said, it is a whole new landscape and you have to be able to manage it in some way to keep that locker room together. So are you having some tough conversations with your guys at all?
Well, I don't know if I would use the word tough in regards to this. We try to educate them as much as possible, because obviously these guys are now for the first time dealing with taxes. They're dealing with things that they're going to have to, as you talk about. Like I said, we just fast forwarded life for these guys. I'm telling you, I saw it a couple of years ago as it was kind of fun. Saying, that's all we've really done. So we got to do a good job of making sure we help equip them for this, And so, and like I said, even probably just having open conversations about what you just said regarding, hey, think about our staff. Not every coach is paid the same. That's the reality of every job in America, right? And so these guys need to understand that. And so I think just more open conversations, yes, for sure. We brought in a lot of outside groups to help our guys understand what this all means and how do I best, kind of market myself, which is, like I said, I don't have a problem with that. But I will say this, though. It still comes back to what I said in the beginning is it's about the team. And the best team is who wins on game day. So we got to make sure as a program, even though we got all these changes, all these things going on, it still better be about the team first, or else you're not going to have success in the sport of football. Other sports, maybe you can have one or two guys that can carry everything. It does not work that way in football. You need a whole bunch of guys working together as one. That's why our one word for 2022 is build, because we're trying to build the best team. And that's the whole goal. And so we got to manage all that with all these things. But I think it's going to have to allow maybe more communication, more open, honest conversations about certain things like this, and make sure guys understand, hey, this is where we are. This is what it's all about. And we still got to come together and play really, really well as one.
Okay.
Kind of shifting gears into some of the new players that you mentioned before. Cam Camper is a name that a lot of people probably won't know. Just coming from a junior college, being under-recruited out of high school, being kind of undersized when he came out of high school. What have you seen from him, and could he possibly move into that wide receiver one role even?
He could. There's no doubt. I mean, if I had to pick one guy at the receiver room in the spring that consistently stuck out every day, it would be Cam. And he's big, he's fast, he's got really good ball skills, got a really wide catch radius. As you mentioned, he was really, really undersized. It's amazing how much he grew from high school to going off to junior. It sometimes happens. It doesn't happen very often, but he's one of those rare guys that has, and he's got an amazing mindset. I mean, that kid, we call him Coach Cam. He's always up in here watching film. I mean, he's just like, he's always in the offensive staff watching stuff together. He takes care of his business in the classroom, which is great. But in his spare time, I mean, he's up here all the time, and he's a sponge and loves the game of football. And so I'll be highly disappointed if he doesn't have a really good season.
Go ahead.
What about Connor Bazelak? I've seen he's been doing some kind of drills outside of Indiana. I don't know exactly where he went for the summer, but what have you seen from him and just being another new guy and a potential leader at quarterback?
Yeah, I tell you what, he brings a ton of experience, threw for a whole bunch of yards and touchdowns in the SEC, had a lot of success at Missouri. And that experience is invaluable, just the poise he brings. Even you can just see it as he's, in the scrimmage situations and live situations during practice, which is all we've had so far for him. So he brings all that to us. And I know he's, these first couple of weeks of May, May is a discretionary month for us. And guys some of them go different places to be able to get a chance to get away a little bit, and they'll come back here pretty soon. But he's been able to get away and train with some other folks, which a lot of our guys do that. So I think it's healthy mentally. And so, but he just brings kind of a real calm and confidence to the huddle. We don't technically huddle that much, maybe the first snap, but that's about it. But when you talk about the huddle, it's about just the way his presence he has on that side of the football, when they know he's the guy under center. So, and that's what you want, and I feel like that being his third year of going in to have a chance to be able to play at this level is big. It's important to have all that experience for him. So he throws a really nice football and he's just got some toughness to him and makes good decisions. So yeah, he's just, it's a highly competitive situation right now. I got several guys in that room that are competing to be the guy and haven't named a starter yet, and that's because we got to have guys separate themselves.
And I know there are a ton of great quarterbacks in that room. Everything I'm hearing is it's kind of filtering down to Jack and Connor, and I'm not even going to ask you to comment on that necessarily. But I will ask you, and not to say whom, but how tight is that race between those two guys. I mean, I've heard that they're like neck and neck.
Yeah, I would say you go through and you see that, Jack has worked his tail off, and he's very driven. He was one of the first guys to come see me after the season was over and has really taken a ton of ownership and leadership role at a high level. And I love it. He's really, really determined to help this team in whatever way possible. And he wants to be the guy. There's no doubt about it. And I want him to want to be the guy, and that's the way you got to approach it, And so, yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we didn't name a starter. I felt like that it was close, and so those guys have worked extremely hard. They will this whole summer. They're both very, very driven guys, and that's great. They have similar skill sets in regards to the height and the size and that kind of thing. And so just, I want that. I mean, competition makes us who we are. We all know that. I mean, iron sharpens iron. Everybody knows that phrase. I mean, it's a powerful phrase that is true in life, and so we need that. We all, and then you got, Dexter and you got Donovan. I mean, those are really two good athletes that have special skill sets themselves and can do some things individually that other guys maybe can't. So, you got four guys there to me that they're in that room, and then you're bringing, a scholarship guy in from high school. And then also, you got Grant Gremmel, who's done a tremendous job for us and been so proud of him and just being able to play and play well when he played. And so just that's obviously positive because last year at this time, we had a very, very thin room going into the summertime, out of spring ball. So that's a positive for us. And like I said, the more competition, the better. And I want those guys to go into that, this whole summer with that mindset that they got to find a way to separate themselves. And we get into fall camp and they'll get a chance to separate themselves. And we'll see how it plays itself out.
You used the phrase "the guy," and there always someone has to be the guy. An offense needs that. With this new offense, are there opportunities for either, whether it's Jack or Connor or whomever, but one of those two to really excel in this particular style of offense? It seems like it's going to be a little more up tempo, hopefully a little more exciting, I guess, for the fans. A little faster pace.
Bottom line is that, yeah, we got to find a way, to score points. I mean, that's bottom line. I mean, you can talk about this all you want. There's different variables, different styles of offense. There's different things, different schemes. But at the end of the day, in today's game, the way the rules are structured, and you just see across the country, people scoring a lot of points, and so you got to be able to match that. And so to me, that's the bottom line. And so for us to be able to be in position to be able to do that as our best, that's the goal. And so protecting the football is a big part of that. So whoever can do that the best and help us score points, to me, is going to be the guy, and that's how it's going to be. And you're right. There's going to be one guy that's going to be set up as the starter. And I don't see us using a dual system. There may be some packages for certain situations or guys or whatever, but for them to be able to maximize that. But in terms of the starter, and that's, that's how I see it playing itself out. And I guess it's fair to that person and to our team.
And defensively, go ahead.
Just kind of piggybacking off that, would you guys say that you recruited and you hit the transfer portal on offense with the goal of being more explosive? Because you bring in Jalen Lucas, who's just a difference maker, a Sean Shivers and Cam Camper and Emery Simmons, just kind of different receivers and different position players than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, to me, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, you can look and see those different guys, and we're just trying to create more explosive plays. I mean, that's what you have to be able to do. It's hard to drive the football 12, 13, 14 play drives, and not make mistakes and for them not to force one because their defenses we play against are such a high level of defenses in the Big Ten. So, yeah, I mean, we just try to go out and find speed, find explosive players, and the guys that can make somebody miss in space and try not to have to be perfect on every snap. I mean, because it's hard to be perfect on every snap as an offense. And to me, to be able to create those explosives, there's two variables. We know this. Everybody coaching America knows this. It's the turnover ratio, explosive play ratio. And we did not protect the ball on offense last year good enough. We did not create enough explosive plays, which resulted in very few points and a difficult season. So we know what we got to do.
Going the opposite way, you had the guy on defense last year with Micah. You've got to replace him, which that's a difficult job. But you're getting more involved with defense again, like I said earlier, calling the plays. The takeaways kind of disappeared. That was one of your mantra. And the team really lived on that. That kind of went away.
Yeah, it always has been. To me, ever since I got here, we have three components that we called our DNA on defense: is takeaways, tackling, and effort. And if you notice, the very first one is takeaways, and we emphasized it at a very high level. And so, for whatever reason, we didn't get very many last year, and it killed us, And we got a whole bunch the year before, and it was huge. You shorten fields, you create momentum, you create field position, you create excitement for your offense, you create momentum for your team, and that's what those takeaways do. And so we got to get back to that. We got to get back to that. We know that. I know there's certain years. I mean, sometimes you can't just you get more than others. I get all that, but at the same time, we went from first in the Big Ten to takeaways to last in the Big Ten in takeaways. That's a status there. We went statistically. It was the worst defense we've had since I've been here. On paper. And so that's the facts. It is what it is. So that to me was just very difficult to see unfold, and we got to make some changes to be able to create those things again. Just play better defense. And I know offensive struggles did not help. I'm not going to act like it did not. I mean, it was tough. They're put in a lot of tough positions, and it got demoralizing after a while. I will be honest with you. So, but at the same time, we got to create takeaways. That's the key thing. When you think about offenses we play against and the points that they're able to score now and how they play on offense in today's game. And so the takeaways, that's how you change, the field position, number one, but also possessions, to be able to steal a possession from an opponent is through a takeaway, and then give our offense a short field and momentum to be able to go and make a play. So that to me, you mentioned it right out of the gate defensively, and you're right. That's the key thing. Got to get more takeaways.
Last thing, want to get away from football. I saw a picture recently of you walking your daughter. First of all, what an incredible place! Oh my God, the Grand Tetons as the backdrop for a wedding. Congratulations, and that must have just been amazing all the way around.
Unbelievable. I've never been there before. She had told me the last couple of years, she always wanted to do a destination wedding. I'm like, I'd heard of them, but I'm like, what does that even mean, And so obviously Thomas got married a year ago, and I knew all that went into that. I had nothing to do with it, but I knew a whole lot of planning went into it. And then the destination wedding is really the opposite. You pick an amazing, scenery. We're at the foothills of the Grand Teton Mountains and the whole mountain range. And there's nothing. There's no church. There's nothing to decorate. There really was no aisle. I kind of walked through. I was looking down in that one picture because I was trying not to trip over the whatever undergrowth there was, but it wasn't amazing.
On a rattlesnake or something.
Oh, I'm telling you, yeah. And then you had to have your head on the swivel for grizzly bears because there were signs everywhere for them. And we saw two elk out in the wild, just grazing, and not elk, a whole bunch of elk and 2 moose. So we saw a couple of fox, and so. Man, what a beautiful country. But I tell you what, it snowed. So we got a window of break in between the Lord was good to us. We got a window to have the ceremony. But before that, it was flurries. And the next day, it just flat out snowed in May out there. So, man, beautiful country. So blessed. Hannah was really, really met an amazing young man. Santos is a wrestler here at Indiana, 4-time state champ from the state of Oregon. And they got married. So we're really blessed to have him now as our new son-in-law and a part of our family. So what an amazing experience for all of us. We're really happy for both of them.
Well, Coach, congratulations. I can't thank you enough, as always, for your time. You're always so gracious with us. We greatly appreciate you. Wish you the best of luck this season. Looking forward to actually getting out and seeing you. And again, sorry that we didn't get to see you in person. Wish we'd have known. But it's also fun doing it this way. Just great getting to see you. Thanks for Keegan for joining us as well. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Good luck this year.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Have an awesome day. Leo.
Yes. Coach Tom Allen joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We got more coming up. Back with it right after this.